I want to go to NewsNation media analyst Colby Hall joining me right now to talk about this. I mean, does Dershowitz make a point there, Colby? I mean, the information that the media received shocked everyone. All of us were told that we weren't going to receive any information about an indictment or even have the jury touch this case until after Easter. And then all of a sudden, we're stunned by the news that the former president is going to be indicted. So was there a leak?
I don't know of a leak. I know that we first learned of the potential arrest of Donald Trump over this indictment from Donald Trump himself. So he announced on Truth Social, was it 10 days ago or so on a Saturday, that he was going to be arrested last Tuesday, and that he called for protests, and there was the New York NYPD put up barriers. That came and went. So if there was a leak to his potential arrest, the first person that reported that was, in fact, Donald Trump. I'm not sure what specific leak Professor Dershowitz is talking about. I will say that one of the things that's sort of really upsetting to me, or kind of crazy about the media coverage here, is that what Dershowitz just said. He said that he doesn't know what this indictment is, but then insisted that it's nothing. Those two things can't be true. It may end up being nothing, but you can't claim that there is nothing there unless we've looked at the indictment. So what the problem is here, and it's not just from Dershowitz and people who are over-politicizing this to defend the president, it's also traditional sort of left-leaning media who are saying that, oh, he's guilty. The truth of the matter is, we don't know what the indictment says yet, and anything about it is just conjecture or analysis and opinion. So this is where we are. There's very few outlets these days that abide by the traditional standards of journalism, that you don't report on something until you really know about it. So Dershowitz is not a reporter. He's a lawyer that's very friendly with Trump. He's going to say the things that appeal to Donald Trump.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, there are a lot of people in media who are speculating that this is damning and that this is the worst day for former President Trump. But then you have others who are saying it's the worst day for America with how this case is being handled. And the politicization came from DA Alvin Bragg. One quick question, because we're wrapping up here. Was this in some sense a game when the former president decided to admit or announce on his own social media platform that he was definitely going to be arrested? Did that cause the grand jury and the DA's office to react in such a way that they were going to kind of beat him at his own game, so to speak? So they decided to shock all of us and announce some information or get some information out there that the indictment was indeed coming and before Easter.
It certainly looks that way. It certainly looks like there's a bit of cat and mouse. And, was DA Alvin Bragg, I mean, I don't know, but was he, somewhat upset that the news of his potential arrest was broken by Trump himself? And, there was all this leaked information. Oh, the jury's going to take a break for the month of April. Former President Trump, sort of 2 days ago went to Truth Social and was lauding the grand jury and sort of demanding that they drop the case. It was almost as if he was saying, like, you got a really nice grand jury there, and I hate if something bad were to happen to it. And then after that, Alvin Bragg or rather I should say the grand jury voted. They dropped this bomb. Again, we don't know the merits of the case, but, it's straight out of a WWE, script.
It does feel a bit messy and dramatic like that, and it feels almost like we're watching a show. We're not watching real life anymore.
And by the way, it could very well turn out that Alvin Bragg got sucked into this. We don't know yet, but I think there's room to criticize and look at everyone's behavior on both sides of this.
Absolutely.
And then we'll analyze this.
Yeah.
Right.
Colby Hall, good to see you as always. Thank you so much for being with us on Morning in America.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.